What is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back here with some more DinoCrisis. And on my last DinoCrisis video, I talked about whether this game needed a remake or remaster. I went with a remake, but today I'm going to follow up on that and give you my top 5 changes I would make if I had to remake DinoCrisis. Now, they're in no order, but alas, let's jump right into this bad boy, starting off with my first change that I would make. The first change I would make is I would make the game a little bit longer. I would add more things to it, but I don't just want it to be longer just for the sake of longer. Obviously, when you get to my other points I'm making on this video, my other numbers, you'll understand where I'm going with this, but I do want the game stretched out just a little bit, because in all reality, there's really just two main parts. It's just the first part before you have the T-Rex crash the helicopter, and then the last part, the LO after effect. I think there needs to be a little bit more parts added onto that. But with my next numbers, you'll see what I would want added at to make it more substantial. But that would be my first thing I would do. I would stretch out the game's time a little bit, but I'm not just making it longer for the sake of making it longer. I am going to add things to it, obviously. My next thing that I would change would be to add more weapons. Alright, because let's just be honest, you really only get 3 weapons in this game. You get the handgun, you get the shotgun, and you get the grenade gun. And that's it. What weapons would I personally add? I'd take something like, an assault rifle, an SMG, a rifle. I'll keep it the same where you can find upgradable parts just like in the original one with those guns in the game to make it more substantial. Maybe have even more than one upgrade part per gun. But at the end of the day, I just wish there was more weapons to have more variety in the gameplay with what you're shooting at. I would also do it, I guess, to make it more familiar, to have a weapon wheel similar to, I guess, the Resident Evil remakes where you can swap the weapons out on a D-pad. But not just the weapons, but also the ammunition types. Obviously, you got a lot of sleep darts or poison darts, depending on which weapon you use. I'd be able to have that so you don't have to constantly keep going back and forth in the menu. But last, I would obviously add more weapons and make it more easier to use the weapons without having to go back and forth into the main menu. But that is number 2. Now we move on to the third change that I would make. And that would be to simply add some more dinosaurs. I mean, what could be bad about having more dinosaurs? Everyone loves dinosaurs. Everyone wants more of them. And the one dinosaur I keep going towards, and I can't pronounce these dinosaur names right, so I'm not going to try to, but you ever seen Jurassic Park? And you have that one dinosaur that killed the Dennis Nedry character that basically when he's trying to get away and spit all the acid in him and kill him in the car. I would have that and maybe possibly have more of a distance character that can attack you with that acid spray from a distance. And some other dinosaurs. I say you can have such a variety with them and stuff. And I like the dinosaurs we have in the original game, but just adding more is always a good thing. I had a friend of mine. I'll let you guys tell me what you think about this. I didn't agree with it, but hey, you guys might disagree. My good close friend told me that it'd be cool if they had like a dinosaur that was kind of like not one we expect to see, but more like something that was like a creation of ultimate dinosaurs, like as if they created it, came out of the Third Energy portal. I said, I'd save that for a brand new game, maybe. We'd just have your normal dinosaurs, but he wanted something really just like we'd never seen before. But you let me know if you think that's a good idea, or do you just want to stick with just the dinosaurs coming back from time here, not like as if people like got a hold of them and experimented on them, because this is kind of too early. I think that stuff could be saved for a later, newer game, but that was his idea, not mine. I just wanted to point that out to you. But that is, alas, number 3, having more enemies and dinosaurs to shoot at. Or hide at, depending on how you feel. Now, number 4 as well as number 5 are going to be a little bit more in depth. And because they're kind of in interchange with each other, but I think they would really help out. Number 4, I would have a different prologue to start the game with. And that is this. So, Agent Tom, as you see here, unfortunately, down on the ground, he's already in the place before any of our main characters really get in there. I would have a prologue where you start playing with him, and you run around the facility, and you try to stay anonymous so no one picks up what you're trying to do as you slowly figure out what's going on until you eventually get to the point where you do have to relay a distress signal saying, hey, this is what's going on, to basically start the mission. But it'll be a great way to start everything until you eventually get to the main team that drops on the island. But I would also, with those characters, go a lot more in depth. Because let's just be honest, the story in DinoCrisis and its characters there's a lot to be desired. As I said before, outside of Regina, what do we really know too much about the rest of them? And even Regina herself, they could do so much more with it. I wish we could learn more about the characters, even have segments where we can actually maybe use them or play them, so they're a lot more impactful. Because let's just be honest, Regina basically goes here with two forms of characters that don't really do much. You have one guy, Rick, who just basically sits behind the computers and he does nothing until he goes to the next room to sit behind more computers and he does nothing. And, in terms of, help me out, I get it, someone's got to be at the computer screen, but can he, I don't know, be more impactful, do more than just sit behind a computer screen all day, please? And then you have Gale, who basically is, I don't know, Rambo running around here. But once again, my point is you only really interact with these characters in cutscenes, and they're never really that impactful in a game. Maybe we could have some segments where we play as them, or learn more about them and get them more inclined to the mission. And obviously, what they were trying to do with the whole storyline of Gale hiding things and the real point of this mission from the rest of his team, and Rick not trusting or not going along with Gale, make it more substantial than what it was in the main story, and even maybe give more stuff to Dr. Kirk himself. It just seems like Regina basically does all the heavy lifting while these guys just pop in and pop out randomly like they're wannabe Ada Wongs or something. But you get the point. I wish they were used more effectively, and I think they can with a remake. I think this story and characters have potential to be so much better than the original one ever could portray it. But ultimately, they would have to do that, and it starts from the start. So having that prologue would be a nice setup, and then learning a little bit about the team before they drop it. And also, please give poor Cooper something more. Like, I get it, he's supposed to be the early fatality, but can you build him up a little bit before he gets that early fatality or something? Like, I don't know, I was thinking, hey, you know what, maybe he meets up with you in the room where the T-Rex first appears in the game, not in the cutscene intro, but when you get this one key card from the doctor and then the thing on the wall, and maybe he's talking to him and he busts through and just gets eaten right then and there. Maybe that would at least give him something to do, because we only see the poor man's face, for goodness sakes. But justice for Cooper, give him something at least, damn. But you get the point. I would add so much more with the characters and the story of this thing, make it more impactful and not bland and lightweight. Because as I said before, outside of Regina, who really talks about the rest of them? They're kind of just there as just to be there. They're kind of like a bunch of Christian Leitners on the Dream Team, basically. They're just there just to be there. They're just taking up a slot. But alas, now we get to my last one at number 5. And that is with the whole choices of the game. So throughout the game, you have choices, and they'll give you where you're going to go with Gale's idea or Rick's idea. And to be honest with you, until the last one, and technically the one before, it doesn't really change the result, but it just changes the location where you got to be to find Gale and the doctor if you do go along with Gale's idea. But my point is, they don't really change anything. They give you a little bit of like variety in which ways you do. Obviously, Gale's is more aggressive, a lot of the point, and Rick's is more quiet and behind the back door mentality. But my point is, I wish the choices had a lot more impact, especially if they're going to impact the end of the game. Because honestly, like, to get all the endings, the only thing you need to know is the last choice you pick. If you choose Rick's, basically that's the ending you get. If you choose Gale, it just depends on if you get to the helicopter first or you see Gale and the doctor first. But other than that, there's really not much variety into it. I wish the choices earlier on had a lot more weight and impact and actually matter. And hell, maybe even add more endings to it, because adding more endings would add more replayability. But I wish it was more impactful from the beginning game, not like the final choice you make at the end of the game. But ultimately... But yeah, I would just have those choices, the earlier choices, be a lot more impactful than they actually are, and give more weight to the ending, as well as maybe even increase the amount of endings you can get in the end. But as I always like to say, that is my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion. If you had to remake DinoCrisis, what changes would you make? Let me know down in the comment section down below. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back on the next one. Thanks, and I'll see you all later. Peace.